Well, disturbing new reports that hackers for a foreign government have been spying on U.S. government agencies for months, penetrating deep into computer networks for the U.S. Treasury and the Commerce Department and likely others. Federal investigators reportedly pointing a finger at Russia's foreign intelligence service. Morgan Wright is a cybersecurity expert, former senior advisor to the State Department. He is also a chief security advisor at SentinelOne. Morgan, it's always good to have you on. We talked about the Treasury and the Commerce Department and other, even oil and gas outlets, telecom outlets. I mean, when the NSA scrambles to brief the White House over the weekend, somebody thinks this is a big deal. Your thoughts?
Yeah, and it's been said on a scale of 1 to 10, this is probably an 11 for the type of attack, the magnitude, and the potential damage it's done, not from an infrastructure standpoint, like going after the energy grid or taking things down, but simply from the loss of information, the stealing of secrets, especially very sensitive information. So, and the fact that this was going on for months, Trace, just tells you we have yet to even understand how big the damage assessment will be. But I guarantee you by the time it's done, it will be far worse than what we think it is right now, because we still haven't uncovered all of the people who have been attacked by this campaign.
The National Security Council released the following statement that reads in part, quoting here, "The United States government is aware of these reports, and we are taking all necessary steps to identify and remedy any possible issues related to this situation." Morgan, what caught my eye is the fact that after, we believe it's the Russians, were busted, they were caught, instead of fleeing the system, they tried to maintain control. They tried to contest the system to stay in there. What does that tell you?
Very similar to what they did when they got into the State Department and, in the White House during those times where they broke into the unclassified systems. They just didn't simply shrink away. They contested this. And Trace, the other thing, too, that's interesting to know, this actually, when I looked at the tradecraft, how they did this is very similar to that big attack they did December 23rd, 2015, when they took down around 700,000 homes in Ukraine. They designed a type of malware that was very specific to the operation they were conducting. And they used it to target a broad range of things. Rather than attacking 500 things, they attacked one thing, and that allowed them to spread in a trusted way into the 500. So, yeah, the Russians are not shrinking away. They're contesting this. And the thing is, too, is with the plausible deniability, Russia come out and said, hey, it wasn't us. Yeah. But, obviously, I think from a tradecraft standpoint, we knew early on that it was a state actor. That meant China or Russia. And I think based on the tradecraft, and I agree with the assessment quite clearly, I think it's Russia and probably the SVR, their external security service.
Morgan, what are they looking for? What do they want?
Information, Trace. Everything from what we're doing with COVID vaccine research to what our positions are on sanctions, what our bargaining positions are going to be. They're especially probably looking at any information during this transition period about what an incoming Biden administration might be thinking with respect to sanctions on Russia, sanctions on allies of Russia, or what our position is on China. But again, it's not just the government that was attacked. It was companies, very credible and significant companies like FireEye, Lockheed Martin, PricewaterhouseCoopers. I mean, they're going after anything that isn't nailed down and assessing the information to see what's in the national interest of Russia and what can we use it to do to exploit our position in the future.
And lastly, I want this quote from a source to Reuters says the following: "This is a much bigger story than one single agency, as you just said, Morgan. This is a huge cyber espionage campaign targeting the U.S. government and its interest." And I was also interested to learn that all of these breaches came through the same management system called SolarWind. Your final thoughts on this?
That's a network management system. Again, that's what I said. Why attack 500 things? You might get caught. Attack the one thing, which was SolarWind. They piggybacked on it because the updates from SolarWind were trusted by all these organizations. And when they got in there, they learned how to avoid being detected by, very sophisticated tools. And rather than doing the traditional thing like ransomware and spreading and having that detected quickly, this was very operational specific. So this was something that took a long time to develop, and they were in the system, Trace, for months. So again, I tell you, the damage assessment, when it's done, it will be far worse than what we know today.
Yeah, it's scary stuff. Morgan Wright, always good information. Thank you, sir.
You bet, Trace.